Hey everybody, this is Dominic, DeAngelo of WrestleZone.com. Today's date is December 10th, 2020. And I'm happy to have with me here today none other than Rob Van Dam. Interviewed you probably about, I think it's a year and a half ago now. How's it going, Rob? Good to see you again.
Excellent, dude. You know, I don't know what I said a year and a half ago, but I'm consistent.
Right? Well, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. We definitely talked about Headstrong, and I kind of wanted to follow up with that. How's the reception been to all that since it's released and everything? And how do you feel about it after it's all been said and done?
Well, it's gotten great response, you know, and I didn't know how much I'd be helping people when I made that movie. So that's just been so rewarding. The feedback I get, people saying, "Hey man, thanks for talking about concussions," and even just going through hard times in life. You know, it's like I knew when I opened up about that I was going to be tarnishing my superhero image. That was something I had to weigh out. You know what I mean? Just I'm pretty good at seeing the potential consequences when I make decisions. You know, within as much experience as I have. You know what I mean? Like,
right, sure.
But I didn't know that people were going to be saying like, "Dude, man, I've had, you know, trauma because of this, or I've had, you know, whatever." Or I didn't know that you'd been through troubles like me, and so it brought me up and gave me inspiration. So that's just been phenomenal. I'm always talking about getting it on a different platform. It's like only on Amazon and Fight TV right now.
Oh, that's it?
Well, I guess if it was a year and a half ago, I was probably like really promoting the movie for the first time to get everyone to see it. Yeah. I have no idea how many people saw it like in the first year, because I totally got ripped off by the middleman. Yeah. But again, you know, it helped a lot of people. So I'm glad that a lot of people saw it. But there was a company called Distribber who, prior to me signing up to them, they were really reputable. DDP did the resurrection of Jake the Snake through them, and they loaded up on all the platforms. They loaded Headstrong up on all the platforms, but after I paid them to do that, 100% of the money was supposed to go into my LLC, but it just went to them, and then they fucked off. So then I had to get them to take it down, you know, and then reacquire it and then put it back up. So it's always something I'm going to be interested in getting out there, because it helps people and because it really set the direction of my path. You know, like it put me towards wanting to do whatever I can to help with all kinds of like mental health, whether it's you know, CTS or whether it's just, you know, people have it. I started looking into CBDs, and
right.
What's funny is I didn't mention marijuana one time. There's not one mention in the whole movie of Headstrong. People don't realize that because I'm me. So after they watch, I even have people describe like, yeah, he does stand-up comedy and he's smoking weed and all this. It wasn't relevant to that story, but it became relevant when I started really looking into some possible cures or for some symptoms and preventative measures, and looking into not just the THC that everyone has known about for years and years, but CBD, which is in the same plant. And since we've never been allowed to study it, we've never been allowed to look at it, you know, and also this is all new. So it made me start my own CBD company, which RVDCBD feedback is like 10 times as good as Headstrong, as far as like people are like, they're like, Rob, I've tried all these other CBD products, you know, and this shit didn't work, and yours is the only one that really works. And
holy shit.
Which is by intention. I didn't want to make the same shit as everyone else. So
right.
My pain cream in particular is the best on the market. It's got to be loaded with menthol to deliver, you know, to deliver the CBDs and all of the shit like through your skin. It has to penetrate. You feel it soothing. You get that hot burn right away. Otherwise, a lot of other pain lotions that don't have that, first off, they have a much lower amount of CBD in it. And then also it's like putting hand lotion on. You don't really know if it's doing anything or not, you know?
Right, yeah.
So, but the feedback that I get is like, I've never been part of anything so positive as Headstrong and RVDCBD. So I'm definitely looking at putting a sequel out of Headstrong and getting into my adventures into the CBD and the cannabis industry, as well as, you know, wherever else my path takes me.
I was reading too on the site, the RVDCBD.com site, that it helps like, and I've heard this before too, that CBDs are really effective with like dealing with stress and kind of just relieving a lot of that stuff. I'm a novice when it comes to all that, the CBD.
Yeah.
But give a little detail to that a little bit.
Sure. I think that we're at a stage where most people, the general public, is novice. They're hearing about it. And I think, you know, from what people tell me, I think there's also a lot of bogus stuff out there that, you know, not only do people buy it and say it doesn't work, but the studies show that it doesn't have what it says it has in it. So, you know, we're very we have to test everything, you know, in Nevada and in California, they're very strict on the testing, which is important. But so here's the thing: a lot of the medicinal benefits from marijuana that we've always heard about, a lot of it isn't from the THC; it's from the CBD. And like now we're able to separate it. The marijuana plant has over 100 different components in it. And these are elements that are just particular to the cannabis plant. We call them cannabinoids, over 100. We only talked about one forever and ever. We only talked about THC. Marijuana gets you high.
Yeah.
And now that we really study it, you can grow it without the THC, and you can grow it CBD dominant, because now we know that a lot of these medicinal benefits are from the CBD, and you can avoid some of the side effects that you might not be interested in. Some people don't want to lose their attention span, but they want their anxieties to be better, things like that. And a lot of stuff is better combined, THC and CBD, but there's also, you know, there's CBN, there's CBG, there's so many that we don't even know about. And you know, Jack Herer he was a friend of mine. He had this book, The Hemperor. You might call it The Hemperor, Wears No Clothes, I'm not sure, but
yeah.
Everyone thought he was crazy back in the day because he was the OG hemp advocate, and he was telling everybody this plant is the most resourceful plant in the entire world. It can replace 80% of everything. He's like, and I loved him. I love Jack. And now, by the way, there's a cannabis strain that's named after him that's very popular. Everybody fucks his name up. It's called Jack Herer, and everybody fucks that up. You know, they're like, can I get some Jack Herer? And
Herer?
Yeah, everybody does that. He used to tell me, think of terror, you know, but he was right. He said, look, you can use this for fuel. You can make cars out of it. Henry Ford made a car out of it that ran on hemp seed fuel. And it was like, you know, besides just clothes, he said, you can use this to make, you know, from carpet to paint to wood products to plastic products. It's amazing. And then it's always had the pushback because of the, you know, the
weed dynamic with it. Yeah, the marijuana, like the high part.
Yes, sir. The 1%ers, they really stand to lose from us giving up all those things that marijuana could replace.
Yeah. I know. Like I told you off air, I work at Whole Foods, and we have like energy bars that are hemp made and all that stuff. So it's like
it's getting more popular. And now, like I said, now for the first time, we're starting to study it. It's always been illegal to study it, and now, you know, we have like we had 33 states. We might have picked up a couple of new ones with medicinal laws, and that's the thing, is the federal law has to change. It has to. It's going to this year or next year, I think, because, well, one, if we get 2/3 of the states vote, you know, if they say it's got medicinal property, I think it's mandated. So I was told by the Marijuana Policy Project, which is about 38 states, we're almost there. And then besides that, just the fact that it's all based on misinformation, you know,
right.
So people are getting wise to that finally, you know, and now, you know, it's like the industry's happy to have me because I spent so many years advocating and trying to educate, and I don't regret it, you know. I mean, everybody knows that sacrifices I made, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and but the thing is, helping so many people just makes me so happy, you know. No regrets. And also, a lot of the boys, the wrestlers now, you know, they're smaller, they're more athletic, you know, on average than they used to be, and they smoke marijuana instead of taking somas and drinking, you know. And so I feel great about that.
Dude, that's an awesome aspect of it because that's what when you think about like 90s talent and stuff like that, it's automatically associated with like, painkillers, somas, all that shit. And like to kind of get away from that thing and there be a more tangible and safe option for wrestlers that can be fun too is like a very positive thing. So, speak to that about the aspect of when it comes to how it's been being in like that kind of business. Have you found like being in like the CBD and learning all about like the intricacies of like marijuana and all that stuff, has it been like a very political aspect for you going into it, or has it been more so of like a more welcoming landscape?
It's been mostly the latter of the options you gave me, and that's because I spend more time with like-minded people that are looking to promote the same truths and learning from actual growers and or scientists and people that I am spending time learning from. I spend more time doing that than actually like debating, so that's when you get the political pushback. And I used to do a lot more of that when I thought it was more of an uphill fight, like late 90s, early 2000s. I was like, God, I got this information that nobody knows. I have to tell them. I can help people.
Yeah.
They're smoking cigarettes and they're pot shaming me.
Yeah, which is awful.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, dude, I read that cigarettes kill 1 out of 2 long-term users.
Yeah.
That's and marijuana is not toxic enough to cause any I felt, really passionate about it. Now, I think most people know, we still have a ways to go, and we still have people's lives getting fucked up, going to jail and shit like that. So we're not completely there, but I spent a while not focusing as much on that, and now I feel that now that I'm back in the industry, it's open arms. Everyone is like, bam, I'm here because of you. I mean, it's like it's really great, and it's a whole different area besides wrestling where I'm recognized as one of the pioneers in a way, and that's I'm grateful for that, and it's really cool. Like that I paid attention to a lot of shit in my life that other people weren't paying attention to. Therefore, I know stuff in other areas, and I'm weak in areas that I don't give a fuck about. You know what I mean? Right. I've never known anything about cars or sports. Yeah. I never had to dance to try to get a girl to talk to me or something, or I never learned to do that. I was more of like a geek growing up, comic book geek, and I'd pick an area and fascinate about it. For a while, it was Greek mythology with me, and I just knew like so much, and I absorbed everything I could about it. I had to know all the facts, and I'm like that, My area of interest for a long time now has been the mafia, La Cosa Nostra.
I'm going to ask you about that. That's what we talked about last year.
I can't imagine in the amount of time since we've talked how many hours I spent watching documentaries I've read. It's my go-to. I don't know what it fascinates me. And now, since the pandemic, all these mobsters are doing their own YouTube channels.
I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
It's hard to keep up with it now because like Sammy the Bull just started doing one. His is like so raw. It's one of the best. He does one like almost every day. He's getting ready for his podcast. Michael Franzese, dude, I watched that. And it's just like, you know what? I love this man. Like, he's so fatherly and, he comes across so wise, and you watch it and I would say Sammy was on the street, and not that Michael wasn't, but his stories are from the intelligent perspective. I told these guys, hey, you know what are you going to do? You're going to go out and whack them, and then they're going to have to come after you. Look, let's work this out. Sammy's are more, like, oh my God, is he? But anyway, there's a lot of them, Johnny Lady and Gene Barella and fucking, God, I don't know, but I am still at least as much interested in it as I was. And it's just something that's a personal passion that I don't think I'm going to try to turn into a business. I don't,
Right.
But,
no, there's so much of that. Like, I think it's a creative aspect because I know with me, when I get on a topic, I like obsess over it for like weeks or months on end. It could be, and like just constantly go on. And it's a good thing to do. Like so I got to remember these podcasts too, if Sammy the Bull and all that stuff. I'm going to have to have you text me them or something. Cause, if you had, did you see The Irishman?
Of course.
Okay, what'd you think of it?
I liked it. I thought it was a very good live action telling of the book, and I really liked the book from Charles Brandt as well. Anyway, I don't care about the, people are like, but it was a lie, and there's no way that Frank Sheeran killed Jimmy Oliver. Who the fuck knows? But it was. Yeah. I thought it was well done. I think it was very, very long. I think that's a lot to ask someone to go through if they're not a huge mafia or maybe Martin Scorsese fan. It's a lot to ask a girlfriend or something to go through. Maybe it seemed like, because it was so long.
It was
necessarily maybe, but I loved it. I
did too. I like the aspect. I thought Joe Pesci really stole the show in it, and then just all the like intricacies of getting older, I thought was a really good aspect of it, and a neat talking point to have about it too. So
yeah,
definitely a good one for me. What's your ultimate favorite mafia movie if you had to pick one?
Casino. It has a lot to do with the fact that I love Vegas and the West Coast mob, which is, there was the New York Five Families and Chicago controlled like everything that's west of Chicago. And so Casino was like a telling of a whole different family. Not that New York wasn't involved in Vegas, but they weren't in the story of the movie.
Yeah.
Of Lefty Rosenthal and Frank Collada, and Frank Collada. He was the counselor, like on set. He was telling his story. He had flipped and was told the story, and he was with Martin Scorsese during the filming of Casino. He might have been one of the first that started doing these YouTube channels at the beginning of the pandemic, but COVID caught up with them. And I don't know, maybe John O'Leary, I don't know for sure he was the first. Probably not, I don't know. But I was following him, and, I'd done his tour. I'd met him, out here in Vegas, and COVID got him, and like he died, so he passed away. I think Casino is my favorite movie, though.
Oh man, and I hear it just picks. Yeah, it's one of the top ones, no doubt about it. I'm a big fan. I've been watching like Fargo and stuff like that, and they mixed up a lot of mob stuff with Kansas City Mafia and stuff like that, and I thought that was a neat.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to check out.
Yeah, and I'm very, very much more towards nonfiction.
Yeah.
It's kind of what transitioned me into the area of interest was first Hollywood history. When I moved to LA, I learned so much about the studios, and I really got into the Hollywood history. And part of that was mafia related. Mickey Cohen was the Los Angeles guy for a long time. And then and Bugsy Siegel went from LA to Vegas, and then started opening up stuff here. And so my interest kind of went with that, and that's so a lot of people will say they love The Sopranos, Godfathers. I do too, but the nonfiction stuff, I feel like I'm spending time being more productive if I'm learning history.
Yeah, if you get the details a little bit about it.
Instead of trying to tell somebody, no, but see, it's cool because Spider-Man went into the Secret Wars with the thread on. That's the basically, but although it is based on a real family in New Jersey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally it is. I love The Sopranos, but I'm with you on that too. Like, I'm a big Donnie Brasco guy. I love Donnie Brasco, and
yeah,
that's one of my favorite ones too. So, speaking of movies, you're like doing a pro wrestling movie. Talk about that. It's I've seen pictures on Instagram, and it's been a pretty fun experience to kind of check you out with a different look, and then all the Tommy Chong's in it. Yeah, give us some details.
Yeah, well, so it's Mikey Gordon is a comedian that I know from doing stand-up comedy, in the California, the Bay Area, and he's also a wrestler. And this movie is his vehicle to showcase him. And they sent me the script, and it's so funny. The script was so funny. So I said, yeah, I'm in. And it's still filming right now, so I don't have any information on like when it'll be done, when people can see it, or anything like that. It was fun what I've done, and I probably have a couple more days that I'll be doing filming some stuff. But believe it or not, I was thinking the other day, and I guess I'd forgotten about this, but I've done at least 4 movies that I can think of that nobody has seen yet. So sometimes I do that,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. If The Rock does a movie, it's huge and it's big news and for sure it's going to be a success. I'm never afraid to take chances with like little small things and stuff. And a lot of them, if they're my own projects, I've had a lot of my own projects fall on their face, and it's like, all right, well, just roll with it and try the next thing. And that's why I've always been involved in so many different things, so. Had no idea the movies that I've done. If a lot of people will see them, this one's definitely drawing some attention with the stars in it, as it should. I also did a short that is making its rounds, winning awards on the film fest. I think I just posted.
You did. I saw it on your Instagram. Yeah. That
was fun. Tea time. And man, I did another one out here with Tim Chismar. I have no idea what that was called. I had a bunch of cameos from comedians, some crazy script. But I did one with like Michael J. White and who else? Nicolas Cage's son was in it, and the guy from Boondock Saints. I can't think of his name right now. It was an action movie with a lot of stars, and I don't even know if that's ever been finished or not. That was like in February. I did that. We're shooting guns at each other and everything, and my character was supposed to get killed off, but we ran out of time, and so I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know, but anyway, yeah. This one's called Wrestling Movie.
Yeah, it looks great, man. Like I'm very intrigued by it, and like the fact of just seeing like fast food characters mixed in with it. It's like super trippy. It looks fun, man. It looks fun. So
yeah.
Something I liked about I really dig about you too that you do is like you kind of like your interaction with people on social media or how you handle yourself too is like very optimistic, and like keeping that positive mindset and like not giving a shit what people think in a lot of ways. Talk about like kind of how that's helped you, not only just with your wrestling career, but I guess just like going into these other ventures too that you've been able to do. And I just think it's a very good aspect that people will try to shit on you for, but I think it's like a super positive aspect for any person to have.
Well, thank you. And I think, maybe what you're talking about comes with experience, at least it has for me, where, I care less and less about bullshit, and I'm able to focus what I do care about more and more, If I think about like 29-year-old RVD compared to 49-year-old RVD, oh my God, there's no way I would hang out with 29-year-old RVD.
Yeah.
Like, I was so young, so stupid. My priorities were so different, and that's how I feel about these 29-year-olds on Twitter right now that are like, did I just lose you?
Yeah, visually, I just see your name.
Someone just trying to call me. Let me try and I don't know. Oh, decline. Boom.
Yeah.
Fuck.
There you are. You're here.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah. So anyway, when you're young, you're insecure. You know what I mean? It's like,
sure.
You gotta, oh my God, I can't have people see me like, oh my, you go way back. You can't wear the wrong jeans in school or people are going to make fun of you. I hate that. Always hated it. I don't think I ever really felt drawn towards trying to be like the popular kids. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want people making fun of me and shit. But at the same time, I mean, while they were learning, the right popular things to wear and the best sports car to go for, and I don't know, all that shit. I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna beat them all up, and the girls will want to be with me. Yeah. Which wasn't the case, but I was more into fighting, thinking, I had a best friend, and we were both equally stupid, thinking, that the girls would have the same values that we have. You know what I mean? But as you go through life, then it's like you have to stop giving as many fucks. You have to. That's so draining energy, and my life has been about controlling my energy because that's real important to me. I almost never ever get mad, And if I do get mad, I can't cool down. I'm so not good at changing my vibe up and down like a lot of people are. I'm so not like that. So I'm like this even during like big moments, you know what I mean? Like congratulatory moments. If I'm in the ring and I win a championship belt, I'm doing that for my professionalism. Yes, yes, yes. In real life, anyone that really knows me, I'm gonna be more like, thanks.
All right.
You know?
Hey, that's cool.
Wow, this is really cool. Yeah, you know, it's harder and harder to surprise me or to get like a big reaction out of me with anything. You know, the best chance you have is if I'm in a silly mood and I'm being sarcastic. I'm like, dude, you know what would be really cool? But honestly, that's a side of me, but that's me, you know, with a filter that I
Sure, yeah.
like to, yeah. So yeah, I think it has a lot to do with, you know, you weigh out the consequences. Okay, what's the worst that can happen? You know, Katie's sister started a fundraiser yesterday, a GoFundMe account, because Katie's brother had died, you know, and Katie's crying all day, and he left 3 little kids, you know, and they got this farm and all this stuff, and she was sad, and then her and her sister created this GoFundMe account, and I had to, you know, that's great, and then she picked her up and stuff, and I had to, you know, I just have to say this, you know, some people are going to take the angle of like well, why don't you just pay for it, you know? And which is fair. I mean, it's totally fair. I choose. Well, first off, let me respond to that. Anyone that has seen the Jake the Snake movie I just mentioned, Resurrection.
Yep.
They do this GoFundMe on there for him to raise money for his, I think, doctor bills or something, and the fact that all those fans chipped in, it made him cry. He was just overwhelmed with like, oh my God, I can't believe all these people give a shit enough to give me their money. And it really, I mean, it raises your spirits. There's so much love coming, so much more powerful than if DDP would have said, bro, I got you $7,000 right here. You know what I mean? It's like, but that, and in firsthand, I can tell, like with Katie and with I mean, she feels so much, everybody that's donating, she's like that. She's like, oh my God, so-and-so gave this. Oh my God, you know, and it's so touched. So, you know, that's a perspective, you know, that I have to explain that a lot of people won't take, you know, and for people to be like, shouldn't ask for, you know, their money. Like I said, that's fair, but also that's the kind of angle that you choose to take in life,
right.
You know?
Absolutely.
It's okay to think that, but to actually want to express that as being your thoughts, well, that says something about you to me. I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like when Sting made his debut, people, I was reading the comments, oh my God, Sting's back. Holy shit, this is my boom, boom, boom. And then there's like, dude, you think he needs the money?
Yeah.
That's the same thing. It's like, for me, like, I think, you know, when I'm doing podcasts, I have my mouth is open to my brain. I'm getting my thoughts. Normally, I stay in my head and I really don't talk that much unless somebody asks my opinion.
Right.
It drives a lot of people don't think I like them because I don't respond when they just say something that doesn't require a response.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone says something, I don't go out of my way just to feel like I have to fill in the negative gap with words if I'm not, you know, and that's also from experience, you know, it's how I balance my energy, and I try to focus more on stuff that gives me energy and less time on stuff that takes away energy.
Very much so. And it speaks to that point too, of being able to, that life experience and going through that and kind of realizing the interaction of people and how they react to you is not speaking to who you are, but it's speaking to what they are currently going through or what their mindset is. And it's just like, you can't control that, you know?
You're so right. You're so right. And so so it's easy for me to just think, okay, they kind of represent the status quo, at least of a group of people that, you know, that will troll on the internet, and you know, those kind of people, like, you know, they're there, you expect them, and they want to voice that side. I've always said I'm skeptically optimistic, you know, and I am.
Right. You have to be.
Yeah. I don't voice the skepticism unless I find it necessary, and I usually don't. you know.
There's no reason.
There's no reason. I just watched a video on YouTube today that just came out today. Someone made one of a kind, the RVD's career. It's like a 25-minute video or something. I was like, oh, I gotta watch this. I enjoyed it, and you know, they made me look more like I would like to be seen, you know, not like I wouldn't like to be seen. So it was cool. But I was counting, like, in the first minute, you know, I'm like, mistake number 1, you know, that's not my middle name. Mistake number 2, whatever it was. But then there wasn't that many. But then I don't feel like I'm not gonna go online and then say this is wrong, this is wrong. I hardly ever do that.
Yeah.
I put them over. Good try. I like the video regardless. And then if you want to break down my perspective on an interview point, then maybe some of that would come up.
Sure.
Otherwise, I was like, dude, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, you made the attempt. You did something. It's not like damaging to you, but like personally or whatever. So.
No, it's not. And if it is, it's like it's just in a small amount that you can't control anyway. You know what I mean? There was somebody did like a 4-page story on me, maybe like a year or 2 ago. It was online. It was a good fucking thing. It covered my career, and there was something that bothered me about it, but I never said anything before. But they were saying that I went to Impact in 2010, and they were saying that I got paid the specific amount of money, and I was just, it bothered me so much because it was so far off. That I thought, wait a second, now that's actually less than half of what I get. And that hurts my image because I don't want people thinking I'm out there like this. I'm like this, I'm special. Anyway, I was like, do I care enough? No. You weigh it out.
Yeah.
Like, but I wonder where they got that info, why they would print that. Did somebody give them misinformation on purpose? Were they guessing? I don't know. I'm going to move on. Fuck it.
Yeah. There's a lot of factors that come into play, and you're like, it ultimately, like, you can't control it. And what are you going to do?
I'm able to have that whole process in like 3 seconds in my head and then move on.
Dude, so many people would be envious of you because it's like, I cycle through my brain so much and then I'm like, I stop, but it's like, take some time. Some time.
Important stuff that's higher on the priority list. It's okay to think about that. Some shit takes time. Yeah. Sometimes it's important. Like, what are we going to call such and such? We need a name, you know, and if I don't have it right now, I'm like, let's give it a couple of days. And sometimes I'll be sitting there out of nowhere, boom, I got it. And that happens all the time too. And it's like, dude, be patient. Everything happens when it's supposed to. I regret every time I've ever tried to rush anything ever. And that's not good energy.
Not good energy at all. Not at all. And you know what? Like, I think it plays to kind of the next topic that I'm going to get to too, is like you having that attitude of being like, you know, going as it is and you know, being reactive and not like just to yourself, I think like speaks to like it's just being a free agent, especially too in wrestling. How does it feel? Just kind of like, what's your situation right now, and how's that going for you in regards to just like your mindset of wrestling and where you're at personally for that?
So right now, you know, Katie and I are both pretty much quarantining, and we're home not doing much, and I gotta say, a lot of people have it way worse than we do. You know what I mean?
Right.
I enjoy being home. I enjoy relaxing. I enjoy not having a trip, having to go to the airport, not having to work. You know, so you know, she misses it more than I do. You know, and would like to, you know, be out there. Although she enjoys being at home too. You know, but she's still getting her name out there. And I'm like, when I watch people in the ring, there's no part of me that says, damn, I wish I was in there. Ooh, I could have such a good match with that guy. You know, it's like I could have a good match with anyone on any given day. You know, and there's a lot of factors involved, you know, sometimes maybe not as good. You know, I'm definitely not known for having shitty matches. But definitely there's a lot of factors that the fans would never, ever, ever think about.
Yeah.
I enjoy that because that's the wall that is still there between what the smarks think they know and reality. You know what I mean? Someone could be so hurt, like an injury, working with an injury and not telling anybody. And if the fan says that person is winded and can't breathe, even if that's not the case, that's fact because the person says it, you know, in their opinion. Their opinion has as much value as anyone else's, but in reality, they don't know exactly, you know, what's really going on. So that's cool because I think that's how it should be. You know, I'm not I'm not comfortable exposing, you know, like some of my peers do online. They're like, that is a dangerous way to do a pile driver. You should never put it unless you know that there's, and you put your hand, like, dude, I don't think you're going to see me breaking it down like that for the fans, you know, but I don't want to call them stupid anyway. I mean, everybody knows, you know, the entertainment aspects, even if they can't feel the competition firsthand from there. But and now on the wrestling YouTube things, they blur the lines, which is cool. I appreciate what they're trying to do. They put in the real storylines with the wrestling storylines, you know, and it makes it seem like it's the news too, you know, whatever happened on there. And so that's cool. I think if that ever goes away completely, that wall, or gets broken down to where it's all just custom and the fans can like write a script and pay wrestlers just to do, if it all goes, I don't know what direction it could go in.
Who knows?
But if it goes, I think, you know, that, you know, you take all the magic out of it, then you're a magician saying, hey, I'm going to pull a rabbit out of the hat, but here's how I'm going to do it.
Right. And I think it speaks to what you were saying too. You were concerned, like, when you did Headstrong, about like, oh, is it gonna, you know, hurt my Superman image or something like that, was in a thought in your mind. And like, I think that's a good mentality to certainly factor in a process of being a wrestler. Is like, okay, how's that gonna affect my image necessarily, and like things like that. How do you feel about that balance, like the blurring of the lines? Do you feel it's ultimately a positive thing, or do you feel it's more of like a thing that could hurt the business in a certain amount of ways?
I'm old school, so I really, if I watch wrestling, I'm pointing out things left and right. You know, that's why I couldn't do it on a streaming platform the way that I do now anyway, because I wouldn't be comfortable. I'm comfortable pointing shit out to Katie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Why did he grab his hand to pull him in and then let go of his hand to do this instead of just, anyway, that's, I'm old school, and it used to be, it's so different. It used to be about protecting the business. That was the number one rule. Now it's like that's not even on the top 10, you know, and so I'm not gonna fight it, but to me, you know, I point out, you know, especially if I think it would be better, which of course I do, because my values are old school, you know what I mean? Yeah, but it's all about balance, you know. I'm trying to think of the way that you worded the question, because I had it formed something in my brain that I'm trying to recover.
No, it was like I talked about it being is it overall a positive or a negative for the business?
With the lines being blurred.
The lines being blurred, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm, you know, ECW was really responsible for being a part of the transition, because we would capitalize on real life shit. This guy got a citation for beating his wife. Boom, let's go with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was the way ECW, and so instead of, you know, changing it, making everyone's whole life completely fictional, like it used to be the thing. Now, because it's more adults than it used to be, more kids, it was cartoony. There was a cartoon. There was more, you know, stuffed animal toys, things. It always has to move with the times and with the ages, and it has to evolve. So in order to entertain an adult crowd that thinks like adults, I think that you have to have a lot of realism in there so they can relate to it, and they're going to know about real shit anyway, because it's been all over the internet, you know. But back to like what you said about, you know, when with Headstrong, and me thinking, okay, you know, do I want this out there? I really was against it for a while, and then once I made it, and when I made it my mind, I knew, and it is. It's like what people think now, because people watch Headstrong. People think that I have CTE, or if they watch Headstrong, they don't think I have CTE if they paid attention. But the general public that gets all their information from reading other bullshit,
or headlines, just headlines specifically, or stupid, like not going into.
Yeah, Katie will point it out to me sometimes. Yeah, read this. I heard RVD is blind in one eye, and it's got permanent. In fact, the video that I watched today, that I really enjoyed, it was talking about a time recently, I guess after my last WWE run in 2014 or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, and about RVD taking time off for some health problems, and I was like, what? And then I thought about it, like, oh, well, he's talking about what's been released on Headstrong, you know, and the concussions, and so, you know, as I said, I don't normally feel like I need to refute stuff that's out there. That's it. If you don't refute it, though, then it becomes fact among the other. And I always figure with most shit, someday they'll read the truth in my book, which I, you know, am talking to people about, but I have been forever, so I can't say it's coming in real soon. But
that's the process, though, getting the book going and everything like that. That's like, I ultimately want to write a book for a wrestler, but it's like, I know how intensive that is, you know? So it's
the one thing that I will refute, just for the hell of it, it's relative to this conversation.
Go ahead. Yeah, hell yeah.
I think that the general public, they get online. You know, I still don't think most wrestling fans even get online when you compare everyone around the country, because they don't seem, most of the ones that fill out the WWE stands don't seem to know what the fuck's on anybody's Twitter. But anyway, I think that most people out there believe that I had a conversation with WWE where they told me because of my concussions that I could not work for them. And there's no truth to that whatsoever. So, I mean, you believe that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's, I wouldn't even thought of that, Rob, at all. Like, honestly, because it's just like, you know, I think it was just good that you were an advocate for like making people aware of what concussions were about. And obviously people, whether it's lower level websites or, you know, people that kind of blow things up, they'll blur the lines and they'll make it things, but that's just shit you can't control. And it's frustrating. Yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah. That's why it's great to be able to just weigh it out, not spend a lot of time on it, and say, do I want to give a fuck about this? You only got so many fucks to give, you know?
Right.
There's a book, I think it's called How to Not Give a Fuck. It's so good. And
I think I've heard of that one. Yeah, I think I have.
Yeah.
I got to pick that up. I guess too, like with Impact and what they've been doing with, I think you guys had a positive relationship overall too. And like, I loved what you and Katie were doing on there. I just thought it was a unique turn to take, and just like, you know, something I remember I started covering like Impact, like maybe the final 3 shows that you were on or so. And like, I remember like just tuning in and being like, holy shit, this is like so different for RVD and what he's been doing and stuff like that. And I thought it was a neat, wild aspect to take. How do you feel like the relationship with AEW, and have like, is your relationship overall positive with Impact? Because there was some misconceptions online too to what we were talking about with Impact initially, with the contract and all that bullshit or something somebody covered. Talk about that a little bit. Your relationship with Impact and how it's going?
Man, they've always, both runs that I've had with them have been super cool. They've been very gracious, you know, to cater to whatever for me. And part of that, you know, was in this last run that I had with them. You know, I didn't do any long-term contract, but Scott would give me some dates, and I would never know if these are going to be the only dates I work. I work a few dates here and there, mostly overseas for the last several years, because I'm not really priced to move every weekend. I don't want to go every fucking weekend, you know?
I don't blame you.
And they've just been super cool. I didn't, you know, once we made, Scott D'Amore and I made the agreement, it was after that they, you know, they brought Katie in, you know, which is super cool. And that made it way easier for me, because, you know, leaving home is, you know, usually what sucks most about the job. Well, that's subjective to whoever, you know, for me, beats the internet light on. Yeah, I was thinking, but now the lights, I got to move it so the light isn't behind my
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, I got a halo.
There you go.
Yeah, so they've always been very cool, and even the first run when I was there from 2010 to 2012, you know, like they were super cool to me, and just treat me with respect. There was another part of your question that you asked besides just to explain my relationship with them.
Oh yeah, just to like like how you feel like with their connection with AEW, I guess was kind of what I was getting at. And is it more intriguing to you to come back? I guess I didn't come up with that at that point, but that was kind of where I was leading towards.
It's awesome. I'm skeptically optimistic. We'll see.
Right.
I mean, I have my own guesses about what they're doing and how far they're going to go with it, and we'll see. But it's definitely interesting and interesting times. I think for the last several years, I've been saying, it's going back towards like the territorial times, because I'd seen different followings building up in Baltimore, here, and then over here, even in Preston City in England, and all these different really supportive groups of wrestling fans that would turn out every time, promote it because they're part of the show, and it was like such a winning vibe, and it's still out there. That's what AEW and what Impact are candidates for potential competition, and it's, I mean, I think Vince is king, long live the king. But I think that's really cool to see other companies. That's how it used to be in the territories. They'd be like in Texas. There was so many territories. Texas had 4 different territories, right?
Yeah,
So
you had Paul Bosch, Houston, and then you had the Funks, and then like so many different ones.
And then the Blanchards. And what they would do a lot of times is they would have like a heavyweight champion, whether it was Billy Graham or whoever, but he would be a champion and he would go over into the other companies and he would go over. And so there was like this big umbrella, which was the NWA, that much like a mafia commission, where all these different families had to pay upwards. It was very much like that. They controlled, and very similarly, there was between 22, 26 of both, it seems like. But, oh, great. Is that an audio distraction?
That's fine. No, you're fine. You're okay.
But they would have like the local champions, and they would have like a national champion that would travel around and then it was like big business. It would pop the company with someone, that's been defending it in these other territories comes over. And so that's what they're doing. And it furthers my belief that it's getting more towards territories. But and obviously the ratings are proving that that it's not just a monopoly, at least not the way that it used to be anymore. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
It's that time to the times are kind of changing, and it's also like things are coming back. What is old is kind of new again in certain regards, and finding the balance of that along with the changing times and how people consume media. There's just all those different elements that come into play. So I'll close it out with this, Rob. Talk about your dogs a little bit. I kind of do this with a lot of wrestlers. I was in Baltimore and for StarCast, and Eric Bischoff was standing there, and I knew he has his dog Nikki, and I was like, I want to talk to him about his dog. So I just interviewed him about his dog for like 5 minutes. Talk about your dogs a little bit and give him a background.
Okay, sure. So Katie came. Hold on, let me get it.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Katie came with Petrie. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Petrie is 10 now. She's going to be 11 soon. And so she's been here for the long run. She's like the best dog. When people like me in my generation, when we hear Petrie, we say, like a Petri dish?
Yeah.
And people that are a little younger say, oh, like in Land Before Time.
Yeah, that's right.
But she's great. I can take her shopping and I can like set her down on a filing cabinet or a printer or something and just walk around and she'll just sit there and just chill. She's the coolest stud.
It's awesome.
And then we just got Barbie.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Barbie's just born. She's about, how old, baby?
4 months.
She's
4
about
months
to be
is
4.
it.
Play in the light because it's hard to see her face.
Okay.
Is she, what is she, part Rottweiler? What is she? Yeah.
She's a Brussels Griffin.
Oh, okay. Wow. look at that.
Yeah, Brussels Griffon. It's a rare breed we fell in love with on Instagram, and like Katie did the research, and she had her ordered so far before she was born. She had a different litter. She had her name in a hat for a different litter. It didn't work out, and that lady put her on this other one, and so she was still in the belly before we adopted her. Yeah,
that's awesome. Oh my God, that's so cool. It's so cool. How's Petrie getting along with her? Okay, everything all right in that regard too? They balance it out.
Yeah, it's okay, but Petrie's like really mellow like me, and Barbie gets like really hyper. She just wants to play all day. Everything's a toy. Her teeth are really sharp, so she's chewing on her fingers and socks. And we have a doggy door, so we'll be sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden we'll see her like running in the backyard carrying like some sweatpants or something, like it's a train or something.
Yeah.
So she bothers the fuck out of Petrie when Petrie doesn't want to play, but they're getting used to each other though. And we wanted Petrie to be a little more active anyway.
Yeah, get her moving a little bit, you know.
Yeah. I've always dogs. I don't understand people that you know, and I know people that are my friends, and you can tell right away that they're not dog people.
Yeah.
Just by immediately by their reaction. You know?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I grew up. Yeah, we had like at least like three dogs in the house and like 3 cats. It was like a zoo constantly in there. So it's like, you know, if you're a dog owner or you had a dog at some point, you kind of know when like, okay, these guys, somebody's not used to having a dog around, you know? Yeah, totally, man.
But they're great.
Yeah. Well, cool, Rob. Thanks for sharing, man. And thanks for taking the time to talk with me today too, man. So
right on, dude. Yeah. You know where to get a hold of me, and tell everybody to check out RVDCBD.com. All kinds of great deals going on. Everyone is so excited about our gummies. That's our newest thing.
I saw that. That was one of the things going on. And there's like, it's like, aren't they like gluten-free too? And like, are there like no certain additives and stuff like that too?
We've got 3 different kinds and 3 different flavors, 3 different strengths of each one. We have 3 different strengths of each product now, and we're always growing. So the pain cream, the tinctures, both of those, we have 3,000, 1,500, and 750 milligrams. Let me explain this real quick too, because I know this is confusing. When you look at a CBD bottle, tinctures, cream, whatever, and it tells you how many milligrams, that's per container. A lot of people aren't, is that because other products, they vitamins or whatever, they'll do that per serving. And so it's confusing on people. But so a 4-ounce jar of my pain cream has 3,000 milligrams of CBDs. That's twice the amount of what most put in. But then a half a size bottle is only going to have 1,500 milligrams in it. See? Oh. So, yeah. So if you and that's the thing is you have to experiment. There's no federal guidelines on what's the right amount to take. Some people tell me 20 milligrams a day is all they need, and they feel it. I like to take more like a couple 100 milligrams a day, and that's that's like tinctures, getting that into my body. I don't even count if I take a few edibles. I got a pretty high tolerance for everything. You know what I mean? But it's something that we're always going to be growing. We're always going to be adding products. And that will include THC, but that's really difficult. That's on a state-by-state basis with a different license state. So 2021 though, if it wasn't for COVID, I'd have that already.
Absolutely. Oh, let's close it with this then. If there's a novice that's kind of like not very familiar with CBDs and everything like that, and they were to go to the site, what would you recommend for them first to like kind of try out as like a beginner?
It would really depend on their symptoms. You know what I mean? Like, if it's something that someone just wants to try just to see what it would do, because first I'd say, what are you looking to do? Because it is like a medicinal thing where, do you want to relieve stress and anxiety, which that's one thing, or do you have like pain? And if so, is it in specific areas? Is it overall body pain? We have inside of us, it's an because it's inside of us, cannabinoid system. And so the CBDs go into us and they latch onto the receptors that are already in our body. And what it's like a message center that tells your body so many things. The THC also is reactive to our body through the endocannabinoid system. That's why you get high. That's why you get hungry. That's why you feel better. But it's also like it tells your body like how to regulate like bone density and metabolism and like all kinds of crazy stuff. So really, you kind of want to know like what you're after, and if you're just after, hey, I just want to try some CBD, I would say CBD flower. I just happen to be rolling some up right now, some RVDCBD. Because the deal with the flower, if you're like a marijuana smoker, especially a medium to heavy marijuana smoker, you might not enjoy just smoking the CBD by itself. Unless you don't want to get, really high. If you don't normally smoke anything, and then you smoke, say, a bowl or joint or whatever of the CBD, if you don't normally smoke something, you probably definitely are going to get a head change. It's rare that you're not going to feel anything. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's different. For me, I feel like it's more clarity. It's more of an elevated perception than it is being high, and so there's different effects, and like I said, you kind of got to experiment what it's for. That's a great way to just see what CBD will do. It's got 0 THC in it, and so if you really just want to get that in your body and see how it reacts, then I guess I would say try some CBD flower.
Okay, sweet. So there's a good starting point then for everybody. Cool, Rob.
And I like to mix it a lot of times too. I'll have some THC flower. A lot of times I'll mix in some CBD flower. It's also great for like people that, like a lot of people that smoke marijuana smoke because they want to relieve stress, right? They have a stressful job. They don't want to drink, even though America wants you to drink.
Right.
That's what's on us our whole life. Drink, celebrate, drink.
Yeah.
Sports, drink. That's society. Some people would rather take a couple of puffs, and if that's for the people that want to do that, but they can't because they get tested at their job, and if they have THC, they will, get fired or suspended or whatever, reprimanded. For those people, this stuff has been really good. I've talked to quite a few people that have smoked the CBD flower, and they love it for that reason. It doesn't show up on their test, and they really like the way that it makes them feel, and it helps them with their stress, anxieties. I had a girl tell me that it helped her with her menstrual cycle regulator.
Seriously?
It's really like amazing stuff, and it's still experimental. So even though people feel like they're completely lost about it, the whole world is just learning.
Oh yeah, it's a step by step. I think it's something that has to come into play though, like ultimately for folks, more accessible and more, just something that people can use it generally without criticism or thought process behind it too much,
Okay. It's kind of outdated now when somebody's so conservative. They're like, oh my God, this guy smoked himself so stupid. It's like, okay, like I said before, you take that angle, be that person, that's what we'll think of you, like.
Yeah. That's
there's also a book called The Four Agreements. And
I've heard of that one. Is that an Alan Watts book?
I can't confirm that.
It's a Hispanic gentleman. I can't remember his name though, but yeah, my friend was just reading that actually.
So good. And, it gives you, four steps to go by that makes life so much easier. And it's very, in a like-minded, goal for myself. But one of the four agreements is to be impeccable with your word. This is what I'm talking about, where I say I keep most of my thoughts inside, do most of my thinking in there, and then I choose, usually when I speak, a lot of people have no filter. They're putting their thoughts together while everyone's hearing that, and it's not the preferred, way to come across intelligently.
You're right.
By the way, to back up a little bit, there's something when I was reading a Time magazine about all these studies with CBD. This was before I started RVDCBD. And I was interested in it. And I was talking to different people about, maybe putting my name on their already produced brand. It's called white labeling. And then in this article, it said that the NFL was considering, which I'd heard for a long time, letting the football players use CBD or THC for the brain,
right.
for the helping, the neurological effects of it. It said in that article, and usually people are fascinated when I repeat this, it says CBG, which you don't even know about, can regenerate dead brain tissue. So that's why I started saying, what? I mean, this plant has so many magical properties that nobody knows about. That's why people say, well, it just makes sense. It can't be healthy to put smoke in your body, if anything. That makes sense to the world as we know it.
Yes.
But
yeah.
This is an anti-cancer, element that you're putting in your body. People don't get lung cancer from smoking marijuana,
No.
So there's so much we don't know about it. But the CBG is kind of like a stem cell. Yeah, it becomes THC or it can become CBD. It's an early developmental stage, CBG. And when we learn enough about it to put this together, to put some formulas forward, we're going to be able to help people, whether it's CTE or whether it's depression, whether it's Alzheimer's,
stress, anything.
It's all related. It's all related to your brain chemistry, and so it's an area of interest that I hope to help the society with.
Dude, you're a good spokesman for it. Hell yeah, man.
I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost a lot of friends to either suicide or to drug overdoses. I would like to see that stop. So that's a good motivator for me being a spokesperson. Yeah. And what's funny, and I'm sure you know this too, there's the certain element of the fans out there, the same ones that we're talking about see it from that angle. They would consider me a druggie because I smoke marijuana. And in fact, the boys that are switching to marijuana are living such healthier lives. My friend Jack Hare used to say, there's studies that show marijuana smokers live longer than people that don't smoke marijuana. He said, what more do you want? You can fucking live longer.
I can believe it too, 100%. Because you think of how much stress and anxiety and the weight people put on themselves, and how much that takes years off their lives. If you remove some of that,
stress is the number one enemy to health. It comes in many different forms, and that's something that I always avoid. So if there's a secret to my longevity or my laid back attitude, or just to be an RVD, I don't live with a lot of stress. If I see it coming, I try to nip it off before it gets to me. And if I have it, I kind of got to deal with it. I can't
ride it out. You have to ride it out. Yeah.
I can't let it change my vibration. It's priority to me is get back to that peaceful, zenful, as soon as possible. Yeah. Whatever it takes. Got to get there. Get there. Stay there. That's home base.
That's home base. Home base, totally. Well, cool, Rob. How do they follow you on Twitter? Real RVD, is it? Just Real RVD?
The Real RVD everywhere.
Okay.
Yep.
Rock and roll. And this is Dominic DeAngelo, WrestleZone.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Dominic DeAngelo. You can follow WrestleZone on Twitter at WrestleZone.com. So, Rob, Thanks for joining me, brother.
Right on, dude. Had a great pandemic.
Right? Thanks.